Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Premier Football Podcast. We're joined all the way from India for this Arsenal special from our friends Shivam Singh. Shivam, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you, Rafe?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. We had a big football match ourselves within my friend circle, and we ended up playing for over 2 hours. So I'm actually exhausted, but I'm really looking forward to this show. And thanks so much for coming on. You've brought your mate Abhijeet with you. Abhijeet, how are you getting on today?
Hi, Rafe. Hi, Joseph. I'm doing well. How are you guys doing?
Joe, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine, Rafe. I didn't play in that football match, unfortunately. I wish I had. I regret my decision, but they're always pretty intense, and people leave there much sorer than you'd expect for just a kickabout between friends. They're pretty rough as kickabouts go.
Yeah. All right. Thanks. Well, you guys obviously reached out to us a couple of weeks ago, looking to collaborate on the show. I don't know which one of you would like to maybe give us a bit of background on your own channel or where you guys are coming from. Whichever one of you, I don't mind.
Yeah, so we started this channel about 2 months ago in the midst of, I guess, October. Somewhere in the mid of October, we started this channel, and it's just we're passionate Arsenal fans. We met on Instagram. I mean, we don't know each other personally. We haven't met each other in person. We met on Instagram. We were ranting about Arsenal all the time on on other direct messages on Instagram. So we thought that maybe we can start something together, and that's why we came up with this podcast that where initially we just ranted about Arsenal, but then we thought that maybe we could increase our base to Premier League football in general, because we we watch Premier League matches and we are very passionate about football as well. So that's why how we started, and yeah, this is this is the journey that has been for us so far.
That's really interesting. Joe and I go way back, and we've been talking about doing a podcast for years and years and years. And finally, last year we bit the bullet and did it, and we used to do it in person. And then obviously COVID got in the way of that. But it's interesting that you guys don't know each other, and from India you've come together and bonded over an English Premier League team. Joe and I are from Ireland. We watch football on TV, but it's really interesting to consider the Premier League as such a global thing, and this is something that we wanted to do for a while. It was actually get more people on from around the world to talk about it. So maybe that's a great place to start, and I'd love to know what got you guys really interested in the Premier League and in Arsenal in particular. Maybe Abhijeet, do you want to answer that one?
Yeah, so the story goes way back to 2013. I discovered a player, Mesut Özil. So I started discovering about him, and then I got to know that to Arsenal. So that was the time when I came to know about Arsenal. Then I went in depth about what Arsenal is and what have they won in the previous years. Then I came to know about Arsene Wenger and how strong he was in the Premier League when in that time. So yeah, that brought my interest into Arsenal. So solely Mesut Özil is the one who brought my interest into English football.
Can I ask you a question, Abhijeet?
Sure.
Are you Arsenal first or Özil first?
Now I'm Arsenal first.
Okay, that's great.
I've been linked with Arsenal for now 6-7 years now, so I keep Arsenal friend. Always.
But that's the the pull of a player like Mesut Özil. It's amazing what he has. I think over 20 million followers on Twitter, and there's over 7 million people following him more than follow Arsenal, which is England's third biggest club, which is just insane. So we can kind of, it's a great thing that Özil has that much support, and that he brings people, other fans from across the world to go and support Arsenal. But as we've seen this season, it can be a bit of a double-edged sword when we have the situation that we're in with him being left out completely, and then such a huge amount of the fan base are unhappy with that because they have such a connection to him. He's a very admirable person in many ways.
Yeah, if you look into Indian football and the global football as a whole, so there are 4 prominent players that are really famous in India: Messi and Ronaldo for sure, and Neymar and Ozil are famous. Even if someone who doesn't follow international football or English football, they definitely know about Neymar and Ozil. So
I don't know what you think, Rafe. For me, it's a bit weird to hear. It's fascinating that it's, you have, because for us, it's Messi, Ronaldo, and then you kind of have Neymar, and then more recently Mbappe. Like we first heard of Özil in 2010 World Cup, and he was amazing. And he was a world-class player for many years. I think it's fair to say he's not world-class anymore. The last couple of years he's been he's been on the decline a little bit. Maybe that's because of the change in manager and Unai Emery and then Mikel Arteta, but still he wasn't as good as he was at Real Madrid for Arsenal in his last couple of seasons under Arsene Wenger as well. It's just strange to be. I wonder why that is, because I don't consider Özil. I don't know, and I love Özil. I think he's a great player. Rafe, I don't know what you think about that, like how Özil is grouped in with that category of player. Is it strange to you?
I suppose it is, and it isn't in a way. The way that he plays with so much flair, the stuff that he does off the pitch as well. He's never been afraid of the camera and living in the public eye. He's demanded huge wages. He's won the World Cup. He won the Champions League at Real Madrid, if I'm not wrong. He's a global superstar, and it is interesting though. You're right though that the fascination is almost on the players. Obviously, we look at American sports over here, and we hear of superstar names coming out of the NFL and the NBA and stuff, and without ever really following the teams, you know who these big superstars are. Now, obviously, in India, cricket is the predominant sport, and that's all you hear about coming out of India. That's their big export is cricket. But I also know that there are a lot of Indians that watch Premier League games regularly and religiously, and even get up at all sorts of mad times to support their team. Shivam, is it easy to support a Premier League team from India?
Yeah, I don't know about other teams, but it's not easy to support Arsenal because
it's not easy to support Arsenal anywhere in the world.
Yeah, even right from now. London, I'd say it's
not easy to support Arsenal because they are very unpredictable. I mean, one match you see them like they defeat teams like Manchester City and they defeat teams like Chelsea, but the next match they lose to teams like Aston Villa and that to 3-0. So, that's very difficult to digest. And recently the record has gone so much worse and like the parameter has been so much down that they are losing to teams like Burnley and that too at home. So yeah, I don't know about other Premier League teams, but it's very difficult to support Arsenal.
Specifically from India, though, are the matches on at an accessible time? Is it easy to keep up with the news? Is it easy to follow? Is there much media about it, or is it all internet based, getting up at a strange time?
The matches are pretty odd time because like it's 1:30. The Europa League matches are usually at 1:30 in the night, and like it's very difficult to watch these matches because it's too late. And like the Premier League matches usually shifts around between 10 p.m., 11 p.m., 12:30 p.m. and still that's an odd time, so it's very difficult to follow. But yeah, I mean, I'm a true Arsenal fan, so yeah, I'm always up for any challenge, and that's why I'm ready to watch. Like whether it's 3 a.m., 2:30 a.m., I just don't care. I just need to watch the match somehow.
And what do your friends and family think of that?
Initially, my parents were like, they were not too keen about football, but now I'm like so happy that I have also convinced them to watch football matches with them. Initially, it was just cricket in my family. My parents, they just wanted to watch just cricket only. But now I'm happy that I've convinced them to watch football as well. And slowly and steadily, I guess I'll like convince some of my other family members as well, my uncles and my grandparents as well, but that's going to take time. But my friends, my friends follow, a lot of my friends follow football, so that's not like a big task there.
Okay, brilliant. Look, and you touched on it there a little bit about the strange form that Arsenal have had this season. Now, if we were to have done this show only a few days ago, I think that I could have predicted everything that you guys would have said. I've seen it all on the internet already. Arteta out, this isn't good enough, this isn't our club. But what Emery, I said Emery, what Arteta has done what he did against Chelsea was he played more of the kids as it was that have been performing so well in the Europa League, and he's left out a lot of the bigger names, the high wage players, and they obviously went and got the result and put in probably the team's best performance of the season. And I'd love to know, I'll give you all a chance, maybe Joe, I might come to you for a minute. How do you feel on the back of the last game? I mean, do you think that he still has time to prove himself, or would you still be, hoping that he lost his job tomorrow?
No, I wanted Arteta sacked because to be 15th in the Premier League after 14, 15 games, just completely unacceptable in that run of form for
And
that
they still
alone.
are.
But I've always, they still are. But I've always thought that Arteta is a good coach, and I think what we saw from the game against Chelsea was that, with the exception of Granit Xhaka, who played in midfield and who had been in terrible form for the whole of the season, is that the other players who were brought in were all young, and they were like, there's this myth going around that Arteta's lost the dressing room, and I think that it's the performance against Chelsea is proof that he definitely hasn't, because we saw players like Martinelli, Smith Rowe, Saka, even Lacazette, as well as Xhaka, is another senior player who's been much maligned this season and perhaps last as well, who worked so hard and put in one of his most mature performances in an Arsenal shirt. I thought, and I really thought that he helped the three young forwards behind him. But it's interesting because once he has the likes of David Luiz and Willian back, is he going to put them straight back into the starting 11? It'd be interesting to see. I wonder what Abhijeet and Shivam have to say about that, because for me, keeping those guys out of the side and persisting with young, hungry players is definitely the way to go for the rest of the season.
Shivam, maybe?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I agree with this. I totally agree with this. In the Chelsea game, we saw that the players were playing for the manager. I mean, the kind of performance that they put up from the first minute. If you could see, the Bellerin put up the cross in the first minute, I guess in the on the 30th second or something like that, and we created a chance in the first minute, and like we were just playing attacking football that was lacking from Arsenal for like couple of matches. I don't think so that we ever saw this kind of performance after the West Ham game. And we were like always defensive, and we allowed teams to counter attack on us. But now, like for the first time in many matches, we saw that the players, they went from the first minute, they were putting up the performances, and they were like, they really wanted to prove to the manager that he's the man that we should carry. He's the man who should be like carrying the team forward, because Mikel Arteta has won us the FA Cup, and you can like not deny this fact. And players like Martinelli, Smith Rowe, and Saka, I guess they really wanted to show their word to the manager. That's why they put us such a brilliant performance, and that's why we were able to get such a great result against such a big team.
So, Abhijeet, we're hearing that we want to, or at least Arsenal want to put their faith in the young players and the guys that want to work the hardest and the guys that buy the most into Arteta's style and his coaching methods. Now, you guys had asked me to talk a bit more about Mesut Özil on this show. Obviously, the January transfer window opens up next month, and at that stage, Mesut Özil can be recalled to the Arsenal team at the expense of another player. Obviously, he's your idol back home, but listening to what the lads are saying, would that be the right move for Arsenal to bring him in now if things maybe are starting to click?
Yeah, he should be brought into the Arsenal squad, right? Because right now we're seeing no creativity in the midfield.
They scored 3 goals against Chelsea the other night.
I should have scored more as well. I thought Martinelli should have scored twice.
Yeah.
Rob Holding hit the bar. It should have been 4 or 5. But yeah, that was a one-off, obviously, in recent times.
Yeah. Excluding that match, let us take Arsenal as a whole in this season. There has been no creativity in the midfield, and due to some politics, we know that is happening due to some politics, that Özil is being left out of the squad. But even if Özil is not brought back, we saw that Emile Smith Rowe and Martinelli, that link up was amazing. So we could use Granit Xhaka and Emile Smith Rowe, or Partey and Emile Smith Rowe in the midfield. We should bring in more youngsters, and absolutely Saka, he's doing a great job there. And also, I think Balogun was given a chance in the Europa League, but now he's left out of the squad. And the talks are the rumors occur that he's been in talks with some other few clubs because his contract ends this summer. So we should give him a chance ahead of Lacazette, because apart from that penalty, I don't think Lacazette did something like extraordinary in that match.
Shivam, where do you stand on the Ozil situation? Now, say Arsenal go out tomorrow against Brighton and they win 3 or 4-0 again. They play really, really well. He picks the kids again, and things are starting to look like how Arsenal fans want them to look. Would it be crazy to change your mind and bring back Ozil now that things are actually working?
No, I think so. Ozil should be brought back to the team because Ozil has played behind like players like Aubameyang and Lacazette. He has been like the link up to them, and if we have to continue with Aubameyang and Lacazette up front, so I think so Ozil should be given a chance because like there is no harm in like re-registering Ozil and like not like deregistering Willian because like Willian has been inconsistent for us and Willian's been the like worst signing for Arsenal in the like I don't know the like if you like compare the transfer records and everything, so he's the worst transfer signing, I guess. And I'm pretty sure that Ozil can play better and he can offer more to Arsenal than what Willian is offering us to right now. And because like Ozil has played with the likes of Aubameyang and Lacazette, so I'll also give a plus point to that. And like there are like stories that are coming up that he's performing extremely well in the training sessions and the players are very impressed by him. And so I think so he should be given an opportunity. There's no harm in that.
Joe, I'll ask you the same question. You've been very, very adamant all season that Ozil should have been in this team. And I definitely agree with what the lads are saying there. If you compare him against Willian, obviously he offers a lot more to the team. But if you look at the contract situations of those two players, obviously Willian's just been brought in and has a long contract. And it would just be absolutely nuts to exclude him at this stage, whereas Ozil only has 6 months left. There are a host of young Arsenal players complaining about not having access to the first team and not being given minutes. And Arsenal are running the risk of letting some of those players go for free or at the end of their contracts if they don't give them minutes. Do you think it would be right to bring Ozil back now if things are starting to go well? Would it be worth it for the gamble that it is for the few months that he's still at the club, or is the potential risk of the damage he does, does it outweigh the positives?
Yeah, I think it's a point of no return. Sorry, the wife and kid had to get through. My son needs to go to bed, so excuse that for anyone watching at home. I think it's a point of no return for Ozil when he was left out over the summer. I can't see how Arteta can go back on that. He would look weak. As much as I think that Ozil should not have been left out in the first place, and if they were going to leave him out, he had to have been paid. His contract had to have been paid off because he's so popular a figure that keeping him in coming to train every day and then never being selected is just going to have a really negative effect on the morale of the squad. And yeah, like I said, as much as I would have liked Özil to have been included and to be able to at least play a bit part role, I think once you've left him out, you can't. It's very obvious. You can't bring him back. Arteta would look a fool if he did that, and he'd be bowing to fan pressure. The situation with Willian is quite depressing. On the face of it, it looked an astute deal to bring in someone Premier League proven. And the thing with Willian is he was supposed to fit right in, and he was supposed to do it from game one. And that was what Edu promised us. And then in Edu's interview last week, he was saying, how can we expect Willian to do it instantly? He needs to be given time. You don't bring in a 32-year-old with 7 years playing for Chelsea, who doesn't even have to move house, who can't settle in immediately. So the situation with Willian is going to be a little frustrating, but hopefully we can move him on for free. Just let him go to another club in January. That would be the ideal situation because it's clearly not working out. And like you said, Rafe, we have so many good young attacking players. They are the future. Just bring them, just give them games because they proved against Chelsea that they can do it, and they prove it in the Europa League every single week.
Yeah, and look, I'd agree with that, and let's roll with the idea that Arteta is keeping his job for a little longer, and he's going to be in charge through the January transfer window. We've spoken about some of the poor signings that Arsenal have made. We look at Willian. You think of the likes of Nicolas Pepe, who arrived for huge money and also hasn't done the business. Is there anybody that you guys would like to see come in? Obviously, Thomas Partey looks like a good football player. He struggled with injury, and Gabriel has looked relatively solid for most of the season as a good signing as well. Where do Arsenal need to reinforce now? Where are they like for players? Are there any players catching your eye? Maybe Abhijeet, you can answer this one for me.
Yeah, the main problem is the attacking midfield in the team, and Jose Muar has been linked with us in the summer transfer for him as well again. And if not him, then Real Madrid are willing to offload Isco. He could be a great option for like 6 months or so. So we can go for him as well. And I think if you look into Brighton team as well, there is Bissouma as well. He's been linked with us
Mm.
as well. Now, these three players can improve our attacking midfield situation right now. We should definitely go for one of these three. The forwards and the defense is good for now, and the main problem is the wingers in the attacking midfield. So yeah, attacking these three players, we should go for any one of them.
How much would you love to have Aaron Ramsey back at the club now?
Uh, Rambo, him and Ozil, please get back Ramsey and please re-register Ozil. That would be my dream team.
And what about you, Shivam? Who would you be bringing in?
There are talks that Julian Brandt can come up from Borussia Dortmund because he's not like stepping up his game there, and he's just 24 years old, and we can like give him because it's his peak career, it's like peak of his career, and we can maybe give him an opportunity. And then there is this Norwich City midfielder Emi Buendia, who is also like the talk of the town right now for Arsenal for solving the creativity issue. So I guess these two players can be like the way forward for us, and we can like bring either of them. And at the same time, I guess we can like look for a center back as well, because the kind of injuries that we have at the moment. David Luiz been inconsistent. Gabriel has been tested positive for COVID, and he's like missing 3 games. And you can't like just pile up a lot of games on Rob Holding because he's been there every match. So we need to uh, rotate the squad as well. So I can like look at some kind of center back option if Arteta is not re-registering Saliba, because we have a like built-in center back as Saliba, but Arteta is not like registering him only. So that's why.
And Joe, for yourself?
I think Julian Brandt is a fantastic player. He's been a bit indifferent for Dortmund this season, but Dortmund are a funny club, and Jadon Sancho hasn't had the best of seasons. They've obviously sacked. I can't remember the name, but they sacked their manager. They don't always do it, and I think that Julian Brandt has proved in the Bundesliga and for the German national team that he's got the potential to be a serious player. And at 24, it represents an opportunity for him to come to a club like Arsenal and to really show what he can do, because Arsenal would make him the main force behind the striker. I believe. I also like Emi Buendia. I thought he was very good. There are a few good Norwich players last year. Obviously, Ben Godfrey went to Everton, and Max Aarons, the right back. Honestly, I've kind of had enough of Hector Bellerin. I don't think that's a player that is going to take us to the next level. For me, he's regressed since when he broke onto the scene in kind of 2014-15 compared to what he's like now. He's not the same player, and I'd be looking to bring in a Max Aarons or a Tarek Lamptey from Brighton. And I also agree with Abhijeet that Yves Bissouma would boost our midfield as well.
Should Maitland-Niles not be given a chance at right back to nail down that place for himself before you bring in another youngster from another Premier League team?
Arteta doesn't fancy him, does he? If he did, he'd be giving him more opportunities than he's giving him. So, if a bid comes in for Maitland-Niles again in January, which I would imagine it will, or in the summer, then I think take the money.
As a Liverpool fan, I can't wait to see which of your young players we're going to sign up for
It'll be
7 or 8 million and then sell them for 25, 30 million in 2 years.
It'll be Balogun for free this summer, and you'll sell him for 25 next year without having played a game in the Premier League.
Also, being a fellow Gunner, I wanted to ask Josh, what do you think about that William Saliba situation?
It's shocking. It's shocking. I mean, to not even giving him games in the Carling Cup and in the Europa League, it's real mismanagement. I don't understand how you can spend 27 million pounds on a player. Okay, you loan him back for the first year, but when he comes back, you have to give him games. We're wasting another whole year on his contract. He's only going to have 3 years left on his current deal. He'll probably go out on loan next season, so then he has 2 years left, and he wouldn't have played for Arsenal. I just would have liked to see him at least bedded in the League Cup and in the Europa League. And fair enough if he's not ready for the Premier League, but at least put him in the bench a few times and let him he's playing for the under-23s, which is just ridiculous. To be persisting with someone like Shkodran Mustafi, who's out of contract at the end of the summer and has let Arsenal down far too many times instead of William Saliba is quite shocking. What about you, Abhijeet? What do you think?
Yeah, surely. Also, there's another player I want to talk about. Do you think Runnerson is given way more chances in the team? because Matt Macy was there.
Mm,
Ranasri is playing pathetic for us in the Europa League.
mm.
Matt Macy has been in the club for so long now. He should be given the chance to play in the Europa League
I,
and the Carabao Cup, right?
I agree. Just like how Emi Martinez was given a chance, he was always third choice, and then Arsenal made him second choice at the start of last season, and he proved to be a great goalkeeper. At the very least, give Matt Macy the next Europa League game. Although the next Europa League game is a knockout game, so we do have to win that. So he might have to wait until next season, because I don't see any other games that are we can't go out of the Europa League in the round of 32 again like last season. That's just not. At least get to the semi-finals. So I'd be saying, unfortunately for Matt Macy, he'll have to wait until next season. But if we go into next season with Runnison as our second choice keeper, that'll be a big mistake, because he's clearly not good enough.
Lads, what's the issue with Aubameyang?
Aubameyang is just having a like bad run of form, I guess, because until last year it was like Aubameyang was the one who was like the goal poacher, because Lacazette is the same Lacazette that we saw the previous season, because not like even if he gets the opportunity, then he doesn't like put the balls in the net. But Aubameyang is just having a bad phase right now, and coming up like if Martinelli plays like Martinelli stepping up and Saka is stepping up, then this is a good sign for Aubameyang as well, because like there's something off from his shoulders. And yeah, if the team is boosted up in morale and like confidence, then I think so Aubameyang will see Aubameyang into the prime Aubameyang that we saw the last 2 seasons. And yeah, it's hopefully that turns out to be that turns out lucky, I guess.
No,
Abhijeet,
but
do you think that he's having a bad run of form, or do you think that maybe it's something to do with the coach, where
yeah,
where
but
he's being played, and the system and the style?
yeah, but it has been an Arsenal situation, right? As soon as we extend any player's contract, they tend to go into their downfall. So also, I think it's the problem of Nicolas Pepe and Bellerin, because they're not able to give him more passes. Uh, that's why he's not able to convert. Lacazette is getting way more chances as compared to Aubameyang, and Lacazette is not able to convert those chances.
We've heard over the last few weeks Arteta talking about the number of crosses that Arsenal are putting into the box, and how how they're looking to create their chances. Joe and I, a couple of weeks ago on the show, looked at how many headed goals Aubameyang and Lacazette had scored in the Premier League, and it's something like 4 or 5 between the two of them, headed goals. You wouldn't think that crosses into the box are how Aubameyang is going to score his goals. Do you think that maybe he needs to come off the left wing and play as a central striker, or should he be encouraged to shoot more? Because I think there's a little bit more to it than he's a bit off form because he signed a new contract.
Yeah,
Can I jump in?
Yeah,
Sorry.
sure.
No, I think there's a lot more to it than him being off form. He's clearly not on form. He's clearly bereft of confidence. But if you look at the trio who have been playing behind him, it's quite often just been supported by Nicolas Pepe and Bukayo Saka, or Willian and Pepe, or Willian and Saka. And as good as Saka is, I think it's clear that Saka thrives most when he's playing in a 3 behind a striker, rather than playing as part of just a front 3. And Willian and Pepe have been awful all season. I think Pepe was awful last season as well. I've had enough of him. I think he needs to go. He's not the answer. I think Aubameyang, if playing in a 4-2-3-1 situation with Smith, take the front 3 who started behind Lacazette against Chelsea. I think he'd be fantastic, because there would be options for him. Arsenal weren't putting in that as many crosses against Chelsea. It wasn't our only line of attack. And with a player like Martinelli, who just pushes and runs relentlessly, and to be fair, the same with Smith Rowe and Saka, that'll just help Aubameyang. It'll put defenses under pressure, and it'll get Arsenal into situations where they win the ball high up the pitch and are able to play cute through balls through to Aubameyang, which is exactly what he wants. That's how he scores his goals. That's how he's always scored his goals.
Okay, lads, look, we don't have too long left on the show today. I would like to ask you maybe about some of the other teams in the Premier League. I'm going to ask you all who's been the biggest surprise of this Premier League season. Obviously, Arsenal is a big surprise for everybody being down the bottom of the table, but which other team has maybe overachieved or underachieved massively for you, Joe, maybe?
Overachieved has to be Aston Villa. They're currently drawing with Chelsea, and obviously they beat Arsenal 3-0 away. They beat Liverpool 7-2 at Villa Park. It's not just Jack Grealish. Anwar El Ghazi is having a fantastic season. Ollie Watkins come up from the Championship from Brentford and is fitted right in, maybe not scoring as many goals as he would have liked, but he's still doing incredibly well. And then you look at Matty Cash again at right back coming in from the Championship. Tyrone Mings is maturing into a really solid Premier League centre back. They have to be the best of the rest, or maybe Southampton. Those are the two that have surprised me the most.
Shivam, has anybody else jumped out for you?
I would say Everton as well. Everton, besides Aston Villa, Everton also been the dark horses, and they have like defeated teams like Tottenham and like drawn with Liverpool. So that's a great sign because they have a great manager, and like having forwards like Dominic Calvert-Lewin and James Rodriguez in their team. So that's really boosted up their attack. And
You
they
might
also
you might remember that Arsenal and Everton were both in need of a new manager at the same time last season, and Everton obviously secured the services of Carlo Ancelotti, and Arsenal secured the services of Mikel Arteta. Do you ever think what would have happened had that gone the other way?
I think so. If like it's very difficult to predict this because it's really tough. I think so. Ancelotti is a proven manager, and like managing team like an Arsenal, we wouldn't be in this spot if like we consider the same odds against like what we saw last year. So if the same, if another same situation, I would say Ancelotti wouldn't have brought us to relegation threat zone. We would be like under 10th, 12th, maximum 10 to 12 in the Premier League.
If you look at the players he brought with him to Everton as well, the chances are he would have brought Alan to Arsenal and James Rodriguez to Arsenal as well. And obviously those are, we talk about the lack of attacking midfielders. James Rodriguez alternating with Mesut Özil sounds like something from some sort of Flair fantasy heaven. Abhijeet, who has stood out for you the most?
I would go for Leicester City. I think they have the full potential to finish in the top two teams this year. Maddison is playing amazing. Jamie Vardy is like, I think he's the best striker in the Premier League, Jamie Vardy.
You've made Joe very happy saying that. Joe loves Jamie Vardy.
I love Jamie Vardy. I love how he takes penalties. He's an amazing striker. Yeah, quite agree.
Harvey Barnes is playing amazing as well. So Leicester City for me.
Yeah, and Brendan Rodgers was another one who was linked with the Arsenal job before he went on to take that job as well. So there seems to be a bit of a recurring theme here. I'll say I'm most surprised with Sheffield United, for the record, and their massive decline in form. I don't think anybody saw that coming, but I suppose that they've struggled massively without the fans and without one or two key players. Look, lads, thanks so much for coming on with us today. Do you want to plug your own channel a little bit there? What's the name of it? Where can people find you?
Yeah, so please guys, check out Footcast, the podcast. We make a weekly podcast about Arsenal and about the other Premier League team as well. We also have a website. If you go into our channel, so you'll find the website link there as well. We also post twice a week blogs there. Shivam and I write blogs there, and so please check out Footcast, the podcast. Thank you.
Brilliant. All right, look, thanks lads. Thanks Shivam. Thanks Joseph. As always, if you're new to our channel as well, remember to like and subscribe to the channel, like the video, subscribe. You find us on all the socials and all that as well. Look, it's been a pleasure, lads. Thanks very much.